Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so glad to see you all because our notice went out late because we had a little scheduling snafu. I wasn't sure how many of you were going to be able to attend today, but I'm really, really glad to see you. I'm so happy you're joining us for this session on 5 simple ways to achieve your 2026 goals. Now, if you're someone who sets beautiful intentions every year, like I do, but get really busy because life takes over, clients take over, family situations happen, or you simply lose your momentum, then this hour is for you. 2026 is right around the corner, and today I'm going to give you simple, doable, low stress strategies that you can use immediately. And I do want to let you know that I had this presentation all prepared like 2 or 3 weeks ago to be presented on December 17th. However, I'm here today, and at 4 o'clock this morning, I felt like I needed to change the whole thing because I wanted to make it even more simple than what I started out with. So I told myself I wasn't going to get out of the bed to do it, and I was just going to go with what I had, and I just couldn't stay in the bed. So I got up at 6 and redid this presentation. So I may be looking at some of my notes sometimes because I'm just crazy like that, changing a whole presentation at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I think most of you know me, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you a little bit more information about me in case you don't. I'm the Vice President for Education for ABC, also the ABC State Manager for Maryland and DC. For over 25 years, I was a wedding and event planner. In 2020, I pivoted and became a wedding officiant. It is something that I love and adore at this season in my life. I'm also a life and relationship coach, and I work primarily with early married couples. And I am a wife of a very supportive husband. I am a mother and a stepmother and a very participatory grandmother. Those grandchildren keep me busy. I love photography. I will say that I'm an amateur photographer. I love nature photography the most. And of course, I am the photographer for my family, but I don't even know who made me in that position. But I'm also a human design reader, a forever student because I love to learn and I'm an avid reader. So you can tell by all that is on my plate and all the roles that I hold and all the things that I do that I need a plan and a really good plan to achieve my goals. And if I don't, somebody or something will take over. And at the end of the year, I would have accomplished nothing but busy work. I've tried many systems and some of them were pretty complicated. So I found that simple works best for me, which is why I wanted to share 5 simple strategies with you. So let's cover next what I'll be talking about. We're going to first talk about why goals fail. Then we're going to talk about strategy one, which is choosing fewer goals. Strategy two is turning goals into measurable milestones. Strategy three is creating a visual anchor. Strategy four, protecting your time with routines. And strategy five is accountability. Then we're going to close it and talk about your next steps. So before we start with the 5 strategies, let's talk about why goals often fizzle out by the first quarter. Most of the time, it's not because people lack discipline or desire. It's because the system around the goal wasn't designed to support success. So here are some of the roadblocks or the challenges I see, especially among busy wedding pros. with not meeting their goals. First of all, you have too many goals. When everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. The other one is unrealistic, unachievable goals. You set these great big scary goals that are way too big for the season of your life or the resources that you have available to you or the mental or physical bandwidth to achieve them. The other one is no plan or structure. You set a goal, but you don't break it down into actionable steps. The other one is not having a why or a reason attached to the goal. You don't believe that you could ever achieve the goal. If you don't believe you can achieve it, you're just not going to achieve that goal. There's overwhelm and stress because life gets really loud, and therefore you often have to push your goals to the back burner. And the last one is zero accountability. No one is checking in on you, and you're not checking in with anybody else about your goals. So today we're going to clarify, simplify, and create a plan that actually works in your real life. So let's go ahead and get started. Strategy one, choose fewer, more intentional goals. We start feeling overwhelmed when we have too many goals. Like most people want to set like at least 10 to 12 goals, and our brain just can't deal with 12 priority life-changing goals all at one time. We already start the year feeling overwhelmed. The key is to choose more focused, more intentional goals, the ones that truly matter the most to you. So here's your rule for 2026: 3 to 5 goals at the max. Not 10, not 8, not 10, not 12. 3 to 5. I actually like 3. If I go over 5, I don't achieve anything. So before setting my goals, I look at all areas of my life to determine what areas I want to focus on and prioritize for the year. What is most important for me to achieve in the year? What is in alignment with my values, my purpose and my season in my life? I look in these particular areas: community, family, finances, health and wellness, home, spiritual and personal growth, work and learning, and relationships. So take time in exploring what really matters to you this year, not just moving the goals that you didn't achieve from 2025 and moving them into 2026. These are the same goals that you've been working on for the last 3 or 4 years. Don't just do that. Be intentional about the goals that you're going to set. Not just standard general, I'm going to lose 5 pounds or I'm going to get back in the gym. I want you to really think about choosing 3 to 5 intentional goals. Now, I want you to pick a blend of personal and business goals within this list of areas for you to be concerned with. Pick a blend of business and personal, like increasing your pricing, launching a new service or offering, improving your workflow, increasing your time off, strengthening your self-care, and strengthening your relationships. Those are just some goals that you can set, but I want you to really take some time and really focus on what are the goals that are most important to you this year. Remember, you're not going to just take the goals that you didn't achieve for the last 2 years and slap them on to 2026. That's not going to work for you. It didn't work for you in 2024. It didn't work for you in 2025. Why would it work for you in 2026? So you're going to get on it. You're only going to work on those goals that are most important to you. So choose no more than 3 to 5 specific, measurable, must win goals. And you're going to ask yourself some questions like, what do I really want to achieve? So, is it that I really want to lose 5 pounds, or is it that I really want to be more fit? What is the true goal? Because those are really different goals. The way you approach it will be different in the energy that you give it. What am I motivated to achieve? So, are you motivated to just get into that little black dress by losing those 5 pounds? Or is the motivation that you want to be more fit? You want to be more strong? What resources do you need to achieve it? So, if we're talking about this goal of losing 5 pounds, what resources would you need to achieve it? Like a gym membership, maybe a workout plan, a meal plan, a successful meal plan for you. What does success look like if you achieve this goal? So if you really achieve this goal, what would it look like for you? Is that a success is that you feel strong or that you look good in that black dress? What obstacles may come up? If you identify the obstacles that may come up before they come up, you will know how to handle them when they come up, and they won't stop you in your goal, in achieving your goals. Because sometimes when we get to that roadblock, we just stay there. We don't move. We don't go forward. We just stay there with the obstacle. But if you can identify what that obstacle would be, you are prepared to get over that obstacle and move on with achieving your goal. So if we're still using the weight loss goal, what obstacle could stand in your way is that you don't have the resources to go to the gym. So that means that you would have to come up with another plan. You may walk outside. You may go to the local recreation center where they have classes for free. So you're going to have to figure out what those obstacles may be to you. How will I have fun in achieving my goal? You know that if you're having fun in achieving your goal, you're going to get it done. If it's just one more thing on your list to do and it becomes hard work, you're not going to want to do it. So, what way can you find to have fun in achieving this goal? If we use the example of weight loss, if you want to have fun, why not go walking with a friend, or take a walk with your spouse, or take a class together? Just whatever would be fun to bring fun into the goal. And what happens if you don't achieve that goal? What impact would it have on your life? So, as if we're using this weight loss goal, if you don't meet that goal, then it's possible that you won't be fit. You won't look good in that little black dress that you think you want to get into, or you won't be as strong as you desire. Maybe you won't have the energy to chase your children or your grandchildren. So, what happens if you don't achieve those goals? Allow plenty time to work on these goals, to work on the questions, to pick the right goals, to answer each one of these questions for each of these goals. It's important to give yourself sufficient time to work through the exercise of identifying your important intentional goals and the why behind the goal and the purpose of the goal. If there's no why to that goal, you're going to drop that goal by January the 2nd, maybe by January the 10th. There has to be a purpose, there has to be a reason behind the goal. And then you have to also be able to answer all the questions, to do the work to answer all the questions, to understand why this goal is intentional to you, and why do you, at the end of the year, or even before the end of the year, want to achieve the goal. Strategy two is to turn your goal into measurable milestones. And I know that this used to be where I would get hung up because I would just not turn them into measurable milestones. I would make the goal of making so much money in the year, and then I would just say, "Oh my gosh, there's so much money. How am I going to make that money?" And then I would do little things for the first 3 months, and I wouldn't make the money, and so I would just leave the goal. So what we need to do is to take these big goals and break them down into measurable milestones. So the way that we do that is to start with your big goal, and then we turn the big goal into quarterly milestones, and then we turn the quarterly milestones into monthly targets, and then we turn the monthly targets into weekly action items, and then we break the weekly action items down into daily micro steps. So let's use an example of if we're going to book, say we're going to book 20 weddings for the year. That's our big goal for the year. This goal may feel exciting, but it also can feel overwhelming for the brain to act on it daily. So let's break it down into quarterly milestones, which feel possible. So if our goal is to book 20 full service client weddings in 2026, if we break it down to quarterly milestones, then we're going to book 5 weddings in the first quarter, which make it not so scary, 5 in the second, the third, and the fourth quarters. This is this is helping our brain. Let me just tell you this. I took this neuroscience class, and our brain works better when we break things down into bite-sized chunks. So it makes more sense to our brain to work on something in a quarterly milestone than to try to make this great big, I'm going to book 20 full service clients in the month of January. Does that make sense to you all? So then we're going to break it down into each quarter into monthly targets. So if we say what should I accomplish each month in the quarter, say you want to do 2 to 3 bookings per month. You can review your marketing and your pricing information. You can evaluate lead sources monthly. Monthly milestones give you checkpoints so that you won't fall behind. So let's break the monthly targets into weekly actions. So if we ask, what can I do every week to move closer to our goal? If we're using that 20 weddings as our goal, we're going to reach out to at least 3 venues or other planners. We're going to follow up with the leads from the previous 7 days. We're going to post 3 quality pieces of content, update our CRM or our inquiry tracker, network or connect with at least one colleague, and send to prospective clients one nurture email. Weekly actions create consistency, and consistency creates momentum. So you should be doing something every week on your goals. You should be taking action. I'm going to say it again, every week on your goals. So then our next step is to break our weekly actions into daily micro steps. So what does that look like? It could be 10 minutes of outreach, responding to new leads within 12 to 24 hours, taking 5 to 10 minutes to do a content brainstorm, posting a story about behind the scenes work, reviewing your calendar for opportunities. Daily steps equal daily progress. Your goal becomes inevitable when it lives on all four layers. First, your yearly, then, most importantly, your quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily. Now, have any of you started working on your your goals for 2026? I don't see anybody saying anything. Did anybody? Okay, I'm gonna look at the chat real quick and see if anybody's working on their 2026 goals. Oh, Veronica says she did. Anybody else? Veronica's the only one on the call that's working on their 2026 goals.
Working on them.
Okay, you're working on
Yeah.
them, Cassandra? So does it make sense to you all to break them down, not to have one big scary goal? Because I can't see all of you all, so I need some feedback. Does it make sense to break them down to you? You have any questions about the about breaking them down, breaking your
In,
goals down?
in the
No,
chat,
it makes sense. Oh,
No,
no,
you
in the
can.
chat, everyone's saying yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Because I can't see anybody,
Yeah.
so it makes me feel like I don't know what y'all saying.
it makes the goals more achievable when you can break them down to more, easier and more, like you said, more measurable and achievable goals rather than it just being one big, vague goal and you don't have the actionable steps to get there.
So I want you to take just maybe 2 minutes and write down one of your goals. Even if you haven't solidified that goal, you haven't finalized it, just to take a goal, your big goal for the year, and then break it down into something that you could do quarterly, to something that you could do weekly, and something that you could do daily. Quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily. Just take your big goal. I know that you all want to do more than 20 weddings. I know that you all want to make $500,000. So break it down, that $500,000 that you want to make, or that $100,000 that you want to make, and break it down to what would you have to do in the quarter to make $100,000? What would you have to do monthly to bring in 100, to bring in whatever? If you break it down from 100,000, does that mean that you will bring in $25,000 quarterly? And if you bring in $25,000 quarterly, what do you have to do to bring in $25,000 quarterly? And if it's monthly, okay, my math is not mathing right. So if you bring in $25,000, how much is that monthly that you would have to bring in? And how much would you have to bring in weekly? Somebody help me out. If you're bringing in if you want to make $100,000 in a year, how much is that quarterly? That would be 25,000, right? So if you want to bring in monthly, it would be divided by 12. What is that?
82.
6,500.
2,000.
So it's 100,000, then it's 25,000, and then it's 6,220, 250. Is that what it is?
I think in that ballpark, yeah.
And monthly, and then how much would you have to bring in weekly? If it makes it more doable for you, because $100,000 is a big figure, but if you bring it down to what you would have to bring in monthly, it might make it more doable. So if it's 6,250, then you know that if you charge 7,500 for or say $5,000 for a full service wedding, you only have to bring that one wedding in and then something else smaller. Does that make sense to you all? It makes more sense to break it down, like to what it is your yearly goal, then quarterly, what you can do quarterly, what you can do monthly, what you can do weekly, and those daily micro tasks that you can do.
It definitely makes sense. But I think one of my struggles is figuring out the what I got to do to get there. So that's what I
And that's when
go
you're going to
for.
do all that brainstorming to figure out, like, if you have a financial goal, then you have to figure out, like, just Latanya, just take some time, like give yourself 10 minutes, put it on a timer, and just come up with all kinds of ways that you can make that, let's just say $25,000 in a quarter. Just keep writing for like 10 or 15 minutes, and some of them will make sense to you, and then some of them will not. You'll try for 50 ways that you can make money, and then go back and take your top 10 ways of making money and then implement those ways. Sometimes we spend too much time overthinking, and we can actually, if we just give ourselves a limited amount of time and just do a brain dump, it might help you.
Hey Shelby, over in the chat,
Hmm.
a few members are making comments.
Okay.
Samantha Williams said, I no longer do the 100 things to do. I set a 3 a day or a week, and it helps keep my anxiety down and be more obtainable.
And that's good to share, because if I have too many things on my to-do list, I don't do them. One or two things. So science says that you can do three things in a day. There's science that back it up, because we think that we can multitask. We really don't multitask. Our brain doesn't allow us to do more than one task at a time. We think we're multitasking, but we lose track of what we were doing previously. Then we have to go back and start all over again because we stopped to do something else. So we're really not multitasking. What we're doing is stopping something and starting it over again. So if we only have three things on our schedule, they're our highest priority. Once we get them done, then we can go and do something else that is of lesser priority. I know that works for me best with my productivity.
And Marsha said that research plays a huge key in creating attainable goals.
Yes, yes, I agree. Anything else?
Um, Veronica says also, if you can't figure out what you need to do to get there, reach out to another member and brainstorm together. You will end up sharing ideas.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that too, how powerful it is to work with somebody else, and to some of us work best if we're sharing, and we don't always have to do it with somebody that's in the same industry with us. We can do it with someone else, but we get our best ideas when we're brainstorming, or we're bouncing things off of somebody else. So that is perfect, and we're going to talk about that in before closer to the end. Anybody else, McCall?
No, that's everybody's agreeing.
Okay. So we're going to move on. I don't know why my computer keeps doing that. So strategy 3 is creating a visual anchor. And that visual anchor usually is a vision board. Here's a really powerful truth, is what you see often influences what you do. You need a visual anchor, something that keeps your 2026 goals in your daily awareness. Options include a small physical vision board. I have one, if I do this from you all, from my monitor, I can see my vision board right in front of me. I also have one that comes up on my screen when I turn on my computer. Some people have their vision board on their telephone as their home screen. And you can have a digital vision board on your desktop in the background. And you can have, if you're not doing a whole vision board, you can have your 3 top priorities as your phone wallpaper. Do any of you have a vision board? I can only see a few people. McCall, tell me.
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. This isn't about creating a Pinterest-worthy uh, masterpiece vision board. It's about giving your goals a home that you can look at every day. Creating a vision board can be so detailed that it requires a whole separate webinar, but at a minimum, our vision board should keep us focused on our 3 to 5 goals. A vision board works best when it reflects your highest priorities, not everything that you'd like to do in your entire life. Ask when you're putting on your vision board, what are my 3 to 5 top goals that I want to be motivated and inspired to see on a daily basis? Number 2, choose images that spark emotion. Use images, symbols, or words that make you feel inspired and grounded or motivated. We have quotes that we love. Quotes are on my vision board. Big words are on my vision board. The emotional pull is what keeps your goal alive. Mix visuals and words like quotes and numbers. So those of you who have your one of your big goals is a financial goal, so you can have that financial goal in big numbers on your vision board. You can have powerful phrases, uh, key milestones on your vision board. You can have, so you want to do bring in 20 full service weddings. You can have 20 weddings on your vision board. That vision board belongs to you. So it needs to be created by you. Don't outsource your vision board to somebody else, because your vision board is going to be created with all the things that are emotional and meaningful to you. The next one is to make it realistic and aligned with your season of life. And the reason I keep talking about your season of life is we all have different seasons of life. We have a time when we're busy. We have children in elementary school. We have children in high school. Your time and availability is going to be different. As you get older, you might be taking care of your children as well as your aging parents. So you can't make your goals unrealistic based on the time and the bandwidth that you have to achieve them. So make sure that your vision board is the same thing. Don't put on a lot of things that you don't think that you will be able to ever reach. Like if you don't think that you're going to make that $500,000 financial goal in your business, then make it more realistic. If you made $50,000 last year, you want to double that and make $100,000, that might be doable for you. But in most cases, you're not going to be able to go from $50,000 to $500,000. So don't put $500,000 on your vision board, put maybe $100,000. Make it realistic and make it according to the season of life that you're in. You know that maybe you can't next year, you won't be able to afford to go to Europe, but you may be able to afford to go to a state that you've always wanted to go to. Put the pictures of that state on there so that your vision board is achievable. It's not only beautiful and it evokes emotion, but it's also achievable. Make sure that you put it somewhere that you see it daily. To make this beautiful vision board and then you don't look at it, it doesn't make any sense. Don't put it in a book. Don't put it in your planner. Put it somewhere that you can see it daily and keep it simple. Before I show you a couple of examples, make sure you add just a section to why this is important to you, why these goals are important to you. Include that on your vision board as well. And here's just a couple of examples of vision boards that I just pulled off the internet. You can make yours I know that a lot of us are planners, so we like things to be aesthetically beautiful and centered and color coordinated, but my vision board doesn't look like that. my vision board has it has words and numbers, and the colors might not coordinate, but it is meaningful and purposeful for me. I want you to make yours meaningful and purposeful for you. Remember, it doesn't have to be Instagram pretty because you're not putting it on Instagram. It just has to speak to you. It can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. And one of the fun things, if you're looking for fun, is to create your vision board with a friend, someone, or a group of you, just to make it fun, or you can do it by yourself. I tend to do my vision board by myself. Think about looking at your vision board and your goals and refreshing them quarterly. If you have a need to change the goals because you've evolved, then change your goals. If you create a goal on January 1, it doesn't mean you can't change that goal on June 1. So keep your vision board as current and up to date as the goals that you are working on. Let's go to strategy 4. Protect your time with routines. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And if you don't have a system in place or daily routines that you create or habits that you create, you're not going to work on your goals. So some suggestions of working and having a ritual or a routine for making sure that you are working towards achieving your goal is to make it fun. So you can have a CEO hour every Monday morning for strategy. I don't call it I do Monday, I call it my admin day, and it's where I spend all of the morning on my business coming up with strategy. And I do that every Monday morning. So you can call it your CEO hour, your admin hour, or whatever cute name that you come up with, but you should be checking in with your business every week. You can have a marketing Monday or a follow-up Friday. I do my marketing on Wednesday. But you can do your marketing whenever it works for you. Don't forget to follow up on the people that you said that you were going to follow up with, on the people who reached out to you. You sent them an email, but you didn't hear back. It's okay for you to follow up with them, to follow up on new leads. So you need a day that you do that. I check in with my finances once. I look at my account, but I check in with my finances the first of the month. So create a finance first Friday or a finance first Thursday, but you should be checking in on your finances to make sure you're chugging along to meeting your goals. I do a weekly review, and on this review, I just check. I have a whole checklist that I make sure that I've done what I said I'm going to do for the week. I make sure that the tasks that I have for my goals have been completed, that I've contacted who I needed to contact. I do this on a weekly basis, and it's called my weekly review. And then 10 minutes of daily business development. 10 minutes at a minimum, 30 minutes is all you need. And at the end of the day, to do a 5-minute reset. 5 minutes to look at what you accomplished for the day, to celebrate your wins for the day, and to set yourself up for the next day, indicating what your 3 top priorities are for the following day. That's going to help you to meet your goals. Let's move on to strategy 5, add accountability and check-in. And this is very, very important. Accountability keeps you motivated, it keeps you honest, and most importantly, it reminds you that you are not in this alone. Sometimes we go through all of the work of creating goals, but we don't have anybody to keep us accountable, and we don't always do a very good job of keeping ourselves accountable. I know I don't. I need accountability partners. So some accountability suggestions are accountability partner. Now, make sure that you have an accountability partner who can give you feedback in the way that you are able to receive it. So some accountability partners can be real tough, and if you don't receive feedback in that manner, you're not going to listen to them. You're going to avoid the call and the check-in. So make sure your accountability partner is able to give you feedback in the way that you can receive it. Because sometimes your accountability partner needs to hold you accountable, and you need to be able to receive that from them. But if you're very, very sensitive and your accountability partner is yelling at you because you didn't get those two things done that you said you were going to get done, it's going to make you feel guilty. Then you're not going to like the energy. Then you're not going to work with the accountability partner anymore. So make sure that you have an accountability partner. And it doesn't have to be somebody that you check in with every day. I know that last year, McCole and I were both off our game as far as working in our business because we were so busy focused on ABC. We lost focus on our own business. So this year we held each other accountable. And every Friday we would call and say, "What did you do for your business?" And that made a difference. At the end of the year, she did more weddings. At the end of the year, I booked more clients. We still did our ABC work, but we were more focused and intentional in being accountable to one another. I also have a weekly accountability partner, and she's real tough. And I can't halfway come to her and tell her that I haven't done something if I say I'm going to do it. So make sure you get the right accountability partner. You can also have small peer groups, like maybe somebody in the wedding industry, maybe a photographer, maybe a videographer, maybe another wedding planner, maybe somebody in the industry who understands how you work, or it could be somebody outside of the industry. Maybe 3 people. I would suggest no more than 5 because you're sharing your goals. So make sure that these people are trustworthy, the group that you're working with. You can also do monthly check-in calls with someone. You can also do quarterly goal reviews with someone. You don't have to do weekly. I need weekly. You know how you work. If you don't let me off track because then I'll get off track. I need to check in every week. You can also join a mastermind group. Mastermind groups will hold you accountable and help you to set goals to evolve and elevate you and your business. You can also hire a business coach or an accountability coach. They will definitely keep you on track. And then you can do some self-reflection, a self-reflection ritual. Like at the end of the month, asking yourself some questions, such as, what did I accomplish this month? What got in the way? What slowed me down? What am I going to focus on next month? And what am I saying yes to doing? And what am I saying no to doing? Because sometimes we say yes faster than we say no. And then we have to prioritize other people's needs over our own. So make sure that you are focusing your time and attention on your goals first before you say yes to someone else. Okay, we're going to take 1 minute. That's all you need, 1 minute. You are going to jot down who you are going to reach out to help you to be accountable into 2026. A coach, a friend, a family member, an associate, another wedding planner, another wedding professional? Are you going to join a mastermind? Are you going to join a peer group? What are you going to do? Because you came to this session because you want to achieve your goals. What are you going to do to hold yourself accountable in 2026? Support turns into intention, which turns into action. Now, what do you do when you fall off track? We just simply begin again because all of us fall off track. Life happens. How many times do you talk to somebody and they say life been lifing? So we have to deal with what life presents to us at the moment, but we have to make a part of our plan restarting and not considering ourselves a failure because we had to stop. We got off track. A restart is never a failure. It's proof that you are still committed. So we talked about choosing fewer and more intentional goals. We talked about breaking those goals into simple milestones, breaking them down into quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily. We talked about creating a visual anchor, a vision board. We talked about protecting your time with supportive routines and habits. And we closed with adding accountability. And at this time, before we close the webinar, I want to ask you if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to share. Because setting goals and staying consistent is important. Managing overwhelm is important. Staying motivated is important. So I've shared some resources, I've shared some strategies that will keep you on point, but let me know if you have any questions that I can help you with while I'm on the line. And if I can't help you, maybe somebody else on the line can help you. 2026 can be your most intentional, aligned, and successful year, not by doing everything, but by doing the right thing consistently. And today you've already taken those first steps. So before we close, let's see if there's any questions. Nicole, I can't see.
I'm looking.
I don't have a question, Shelby, but I have an observation.
Mhm.
I highlighted allow time to sit and evaluate the goals. Every year I may set goals, just based on what I think I want to achieve, instead of just sitting with, let's say, three and going through all of the steps for each one, answering the questions as you have laid it out. So it's a really good way to set the goals, and I thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I found that I would come up with these 10 goals a year and sometimes 12, and I would just have a goal, but I never really worked through the goals. And one of the things that really helped me was having a why attached to it too. I need my goals to have purpose, and it has to be more than it's just something I want to do. There's a difference between a goal and a task list. And sometimes we make our task list our goal list.
Mm.
Anyone else?
Shelby, I just have a question for you. I do feel like, I will say that I do feel like 2026 is going to be my year of a reset, my launch kind of like propelled me forward with that. But I wanted to ask you, you said 3 to 5 goals at the maximum. Is that
Mhm.
3 to 5 goals per area or in total?
Oh, no, not an area, total.
Okay.
They're the ones that make the biggest impact in your life. The ones that if you don't get it done, it makes it's going to impact you in a huge way. So, like taking a trip to Las Vegas will not impact you in a huge way, but making so many dollars would impact you in a huge way. Do you understand? Do you get the difference? Because sometimes we have a ton of goals. We call them goals, but they really are tasks. We sometimes have these things that we want to do. I have a list of 50 things that I would like to do, but they're not my goals.
Makes sense.
Yeah, just 3 to 5 for the year. Now, if you complete two of those goals and you want to add two more on, then you can go for it. But our brain doesn't really like that. We can't, our brain won't allow us to work on too much at one time. That's why we get overwhelmed and stressed. When I get overwhelmed and stressed, I don't do anything but busy work. Anyone else? Okay, you all are quiet. Okay, so I'm going to thank you for joining me today, especially since I had to ask you to come here on such short notice. But thank you very much for joining me. I wish that I hope that you gained at least one little nugget out of this. I know that at this time of the year, everybody talks about goal setting, but sometimes somebody says something a different way and it clicks for us. So know that I am in your corner. If you want, I'm gonna to suggest that you get an accountability partner. But if you can't, if you need someone, a friend in ABC in your state, somebody within the ABC, because you know we're family, to be your accountability partner, please reach out to them and tell them what you're doing. And pick somebody that you trust, somebody that you know will hold your goals in confidence and work towards achieving all your 2026 goals. It's going to be an amazing year. Thank you so much for joining me. Wishing you clarity, consistency, and breakthroughs in 2026. And Nicole, thank you for helping me out today.